This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have a very special treat for you. What we're going to do today is we're going to show you and compare these two different juicers side by side. Over on this side we have the Omega 8003 Nutrition Center, and right here we have its big brother, the Omega 8004 Nutrition Center. Now both these machines are basically the same exact thing. They have some minute differences. The 8003 came out first, so actually the 8004 is technically the new and upgraded model. So both these juicers are single auger juicers. What that means is there's a single auger that runs in here that literally grinds up the produce and squeezes all the juice out. So let me go ahead and take the 8003 apart and show you how it works. Basically, as you put the produce in here, this auger is spinning around, and as it spins around, it literally chunks off a piece of the produce and compresses it into a smaller and smaller space, and then it squeezes it so much that the juice comes out. So on the initial pressing, the juice is squeezed out stage number one, which is right here. The juice drips out the bottom, which will then come into your collection cup, and stage number two is this screen area right here where it's going to get the final pressing, and these machines are actually fairly efficient. So while both of these are single augers, the main difference between these guys are the actual augers themselves. Let's go ahead and take apart the 8004 here. You can see the screens on both machines are identical, and then on this machine here we have a black auger. So this is the black auger, and on the 8003 it has the standard auger. So this auger is 8 times harder, so it's not going to wear as fast or as quickly as this one here. So the other differences besides the auger, which is the main difference, are just a few cosmetic differences. Number one, you're both going to get pushers with both machines. They're identical. The funnel shape is actually a little bit different. The funnel is actually a little bit larger on the Omega 8004. I like that a little bit better. And also with the 8004, you can get larger collection cups. So both for the juice and the pulp coming out of the machine. On the 8003, your collection cups look like this. They're actually rather small, and you have a screen, so this screen will further strain your juice so you don't get pulp in your juice if you don't like that. If you want some extra pulp in your juice, that's fine. You don't need to use this. And these are the collection cups on the 8003. Once again, you get the same strainer on the 8004, and these are the collection cups on the 8004. You can see they're much larger. So the 8004 has a nice large collection cup for the pulp, whereas this one has a small one, and this one has also a larger cup with a nice pour spout for the juice. So next, let's talk about the motor in both these machines. The motor in both these machines are identical. They both run at 80 RPMs, or revolutions per minute, and they have basically a 2 horsepower equivalent of pressing power after gear reduction, so they're identical. The one thing that is different is the shape of the body on the machines. You can see this one's a little bit more compact body and has a flip-up handle, and this one has a built-in handle. But other than that, they're basically identical. So if you like the more slimline look, this one's actually a little more compact. This one's a little bit more heavy and stout. Like if you do want to travel with the machine, I'd recommend this machine because this handle folds down and this body's a little bit more compact for packing your bags. Actually, this is one of my favorite juicers for traveling, and I have another excellent video on traveling with your juicer if you want to check on YouTube for that video. So you just saw the differences between these two machines, and basically they're the same machine, and this model just has a few minor changes and upgrades. If you have the extra money, I would highly encourage you to get the 8004, not only for the larger juice collection cups, the larger funnel, the 8 times harder auger, but the one thing that is really important to me is the warranty. After all, a juicer is an investment, and it's an investment in the most important thing you have in your life, your health. And have you ever heard the saying, your health is your greatest wealth? Because without your health, you don't have anything. And by spending just a little bit more now on the 8004, you're gonna get a 5-year longer warranty. So the 8004 has a 15-year warranty, and the 8003 has a very admirable 10-year warranty. Now the 15-year warranty is the longest warranty in the juicing industry, so have total faith and confidence. If you buy the Omega 8004, you're gonna have a juicer that's gonna work for you for the next 15 years. And I don't know how many other products actually could make that warranty promise with a 15-year warranty. I mean, most refrigerators might have a 1-year warranty, but you're going to be juicing for 15 years if you get the 8004. So next, let's show you how to assemble and disassemble the machine, and then we're going to get into juicing. Both these machines are very easy to use, and actually this is one of the easiest juicers in the world to clean based on all the juicers I've tested, and I've tested a lot of them. This one takes me about 1.5 minutes to clean. So here you have your strainer. This goes on top of your collection cup. We're going to go ahead and carefully rotate this collar on the top. It says open and close. It simply rotates, and you can remove the whole juice body. Of course, the funnel comes off the top. Then you can put the juice body onto the machine. When it's on the open, then you're going to close it and slide the collar over to the closed section. You're going to then take your auger, and you're going to push the auger all the way in there. It goes in there until it fully seats. Then you're going to take your juicing screen. You always need to make sure that this part of the screen is face down. If it's face up, it's not going to work. You need to put it face down. And once again, that goes all the way to the end until it seats. And finally, you have the juicing end cap that basically goes on. Once again, it says open and close. You're just going to put it in there and turn it to lock it in place. Finally, you have your funnel, and you just put the funnel on, and I mean, that's how easy it is to assemble. Now, to disassemble, we're just going to do the reverse. We're going to take off the end cap, turn that to the side, comes right out. Then we're going to take the screen out, and finally the auger. And then we could remove, turn the collar, take it open, and the last two pieces come out. Now, this is literally all the pieces you're going to have to clean, just the parts I took apart. And let me tell you the secret. The secret to cleaning any juicer and how long it's going to take to clean the juicer, it depends on the area of the screen. The more screen area there is on any juicer, the longer it's going to take to clean. Now on the Omega 8004, 8003, also the 8005 and 8006, which are identical to these machines, except it's chrome plated plastic in the chrome and black color instead of white. All these juicers have like very small screen area. So the screen area is where all the pulp gets stuck and is the hardest part to clean on most juicers. So they give you a special cleaning brush with this machine so that you could easily scrub out all the holes on the screen to get all the pulp dislodged. And that's why this machine is so easy to clean. So let's go ahead and quickly assemble it once again, and then we're going to get juicing. So as you can see, both these machines are identical. We got it all assembled. Now we're going to juice. And now let's talk about juicing. Obviously, since these machines are the same, they're going to juice identical. They're going to make pretty much the same yield and juice the same things and, you know, perform similar tasks. Now this is a single auger style machine. The single auger style machine is best at juicing these guys right here. These guys are called leafy greens. Leafy green vegetables including kale, collards, dandelion, spinach, turnip greens, collard greens. They're really nutrient dense. They're one of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet. Now what does nutrient dense means? Nutrient dense means it has a lot of nutrition per calorie. A lot of fast foods and junk foods are actually calorically dense. They have a lot of calories but not a lot of nutrition. So we want to get back to eating the nutrient dense foods like the leafy greens. The problem with leafy greens is that, you know, we're not like a cow and have, you know, 3 stomachs that could optimally digest leaves and greens. Unless we chew really well, which most people take 2 chews and swallow, we're not going to get the optimal digestion out of these leafy greens. And that's where this juicer comes in. This juicer, based on my test, is actually one of the best juicers on the market to juice specifically the leafy greens. Once again, the nutrient dense leafy greens, so that you can get the most nutrition and the least amount of calories in you. So besides juicing just the leafy greens, which it does a superior job at, it'll also juice your standard things like apples and carrots and cucumbers, and that's what we're going to juice today. Now while this machine does excel at juicing leafy greens, and it will juice carrots, this machine may not get as high of a yield as some other machines on carrots. So you want to be sure to check my other videos where I compare this style machine against other style machines to see which one is going to be best for you. Just like if you're buying a pair of shoes and you're going to go hiking, you wouldn't want to wear some sandals that you would go to the beach in. You'd want to wear some hiking shoes. And just like when you're juicing, if you're going to juice a lot of leafy greens, you want to juice the leafy greens with a juicer like the Omega 8004. If you're going to juice a lot of carrots, or mostly all carrots, and not a lot of leafy greens, you're going to want to get what's called a centrifugal ejection style juicer. That juicer is generally fairly easy to use, actually fairly quick, and also juices the carrots and actually makes a pretty good yield. Of course, because the Omega 8004 runs at a low 80 RPM, the lower the RPM, the higher the nutrient quality. So you're going to get a better quality juice that has more nutrition than a high-speed juice, because those machines tend to oxidize the juice just a little bit more. So without further ado, let's get into the juicing. So we're going to go ahead and turn this machine on. And one of the things I like about the Omega 8004 and actually little brother 8003, it runs at a low 80 RPMs. Some machines, especially the high-speed centrifugal ejection machines, run at 10,000 plus revolutions per minute. That's how fast it runs, and it sounds literally like an airplane taking off in your kitchen. So if you're juicing early in the morning when the rest of your family or your roommates are asleep, it's really maybe prudent to get a slow running machine so that you could still juice and they could still sleep. In any case, I mean, it's really easy to use. You just turn this machine on and you can literally just drop a carrot in there and you can see it's pretty much self-feeding. Now you may have to use the pusher just a little bit to push the carrot in there. And as you can see, the juice is coming out right below the machine and the pulp is coming out the front. Now it's literally taking this carrot and grinding it up, and as it grinds it up, the juice is released, and that's what we're seeing here. I also have the strainer on the collection cup to take out some of the extra fiber if you don't like the extra fiber in your juice. Let's once again put another carrot in there. We're just going to drop that in, and it literally just chunks off pieces of carrot at a time to juice it. And it does it quite well. Next, we're going to take the kale, and this is called Dino Kale or Black Kale, or also called Tuscan Kale. So many names for this. This is a dark, rich, leafy green. I like this a lot. And this leaf may be problematic in certain juicers to juice because some juicers don't actually juice leaves too well. The Omega 8004, on the other hand, does an amazing job. And you don't even have to pre-cut this or anything. You just take this whole leaf. I mean, that leaf is bigger than my head. You're just going to stick that in the machine. And once again, it's just going to take pieces off it and juice the kale leaf and put it into your juice. And so now I'm juicing that, and you can see the green juice coming out. And yes, green juice is actually juice from leafy greens. Once again, the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Once again, on the cucumber, we could juice cucumbers straight up in this machine. It's going to work really well as long as whatever you're juicing fits in the chute of the juicer. Now, the juicing chute, it's about this size. It's about 1.5 inches in diameter, circle. And all we need to do to fit the cucumber in there is to cut this cucumber into quarters. So you can see we have that cucumber quartered up. Now we can just literally drop it in there, and it's going to chunk off a piece of the cucumber and mix it in the juice. Another question you might have is, John, what kind of juice recipes do I make once I get the juicer? Well, I would encourage you to always juice your leafy greens. It's very important to juice your leafy greens, but you don't want to juice too much. Too much of a good thing is not a good thing. Like if you juiced all these kale leaves and tried to drink this straight, you have a really straight, dark, leafy green juice, and unless you have an acquired taste for green juice, it's not going to taste that good for you. So I would recommend you make 3/4 of your glass of something like apples and cucumbers and carrots, any combination thereof, and then 1/4 of your glass of the dark leafy greens, because they have a really nice bite to them. So let's see, we're just going to go ahead and finish pushing down the rest of this cucumber, and it's literally grinding up the cucumber into a cucumber pulp. So next we're going to juice some apples, and yes, the Omega 8004 juicer will juice apples and other fruits as well. And once again, all we need to do is just cut the apple up so that it can fit into the machine. And there's a piece of apple we're going to drop right in and push it in with the pusher. Now, in general, I don't necessarily recommend that you juice fruits. Why would I say that? Well, the fruits have a very different consistency than, say, the carrot. I mean, I could literally take this piece of apple and squeeze it, and you can see all that juice just running out of my hand. Now, juicers can have challenges with produce that's really soft, because if you're getting apples that are too soft, it's going to turn it into an applesauce instead of an apple juice. So when selecting fruits to juice, you need to make sure you get them as hard and firm as possible, so they're going to give you the best results when you try to juice them. So the carrot, on the other hand, I can take this in my hand and try to squeeze it, and I'm not squeezing out any juice. And these are the kinds of produce that actually the juicer really excels at juicing, the things that have juice locked up inside there. I mean, once again, just like the kale, I could squeeze the kale and I can't get any juice out of it. But those are the things that the juicer is going to do really well with. Now, not to say that the Omega 8004 won't juice fruits, it may just not be as efficient as other juicers juicing fruits. I've juiced things like straight pineapple in here, I've juiced tangerines in here, I've juiced many fruits in here, and it actually will juice them, but don't expect a high yield, especially when juicing berries. If you're juicing berries, I would say just eat your berries or blend your berries whole, because if you juice berries, they're just so expensive for just one little carton. You'll juice one whole container of berries and you'll get like that much juice. Hardly worth it. Save your money and actually eat the berries whole or blend them up, and you get the full benefits of the berries, including the fiber and the juice. So you might be asking yourself, John, what's the difference between blending and juicing? Well, blending, you're basically taking the whole produce and just blending it up into like pretty much a baby food, and sometimes you may have to add extra liquids. So while this does give you what's called a total juice, it may not, in my opinion, be as good as juicing leafy greens. When we're juicing leafy greens, we're literally getting the lifeblood or the chlorophyll-rich juice from the leafy green, and we're not having to worry about the fiber. Now, yes, we still do need fiber in our diets, so I'd encourage you also to eat a nice, gigantic salad every night for dinner. And if you want to learn more about juicing versus blending, I have another really good episode called Juicing versus Blending that I'll go into more details about which is which and which is better. Once again, let's just start shoving some of these kale leaves into the machine. I want a nice, dark, rich green juice today. So you can see here, as we put the leafy greens in, I mean, this is what I'm getting at. I'm literally getting these strings of the kale that is literally just turning into strings, and it's turning into the green juice. So when I feed things into the Omega 8004 Nutrition Center, or most any juicer I'm juicing in, I always strive to rotate what I'm juicing. So instead of like juicing all the carrots and then all the apples and then all the kale, I'll put in a piece of kale, a piece of apple, a piece of cucumber, and rotate what I'm doing, because some things juice better than others. Like the kale is actually doing a really good job, and the cucumber pulp actually comes out a little bit wet, as does the apple pulp, because once again, I can almost squeeze this cucumber and get juice out of it. So I think I'm about halfway done juicing. I'm going to continue to juice, and I'll show you the results when I'm finally done. So I'm almost done juicing everything in the Omega 8004 Nutrition Center. I got a few things more to juice. My collection cup is almost full, and actually these are the remaining kale leaves. We're going to go ahead and feed those into the machine. And we're going to follow that by carrots. And now the Omega 8004 really does the leafy greens the best of all the juicers I've tested. So if you really want to juice leafy greens, I mean, look at this. It's really just turning the leaves into just shredded fibers and extracting all the juice. Alright, so I think we're about done. Our collection cup is all full. We're going to go ahead and turn the machine off, and we're going to remove the pulp catch bin. Once again, this is all the pulp that was generated. It's broken down nice and fine. Then we can remove the juice collection cup. Now you can see in the juice collection cup we got this strainer on the top, and this strainer is full of foam. So what I normally like to do is just tap this down a little bit to get some of the strainer to basically drain down into the juice. Okay, and you can see there's all the extra foam that was collected by the strainer that I'm not going to be drinking. Also, a little bit of extra fiber gets through the screen. So we're going to set that aside, and now here's the delicious juice that I've just made. So here's my fully strained green juice, and we're going to go ahead and drink this up. Nice and strong. Maybe next time I'll add a little bit more apple to make it sweeter and more palatable, but I love drinking fresh green juices. So before I go, I want to remind you that the Omega 8003 and 8004 are more than just juicers. They're actually called nutrition centers, and this is for one very important reason. besides just juicing like we did today, these machines will also do what's called homogenizing. And what homogenizing allows you to do, it allows you to take frozen bananas that have been peeled, you put them through the machine, and it'll make a banana sorbet, 100% bananas. So if you're trying to get off ice cream and eat a better and healthier diet instead of ice cream, you can now process frozen fruits, pretty much any frozen fruit, including frozen berries, through the machine with what's called the blank plate. So this blank plate, instead of having the holes for the screen like when juicing, this blank plate crushes up everything that you put into the machine. So it'll make frozen sorbets. You can also make things like peanut butter at your home now with the Omega 8004 or 8003 Nutrition Center. A multitude of uses. You can make nut pates, seed pates, veggie patties, all kinds of things with the blank plate. So it's very useful, and not many other machines offer this feature. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode learning more about the Omega 8003 and Omega 8004 Nutrition Center. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Now be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.